Oh, that dope dream team. It's your boy D Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with USA gun control versus Australia, and I believe it's Ben Shapiro up there talking. I'm intrigued to hear what he has to say. I feel like Ben Shapiro, his opinions and things he says are definitely always controversial. But before we dive into this, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Let's find out.
Hi, Mr. Shapiro. Thank you for coming. I'm a big fan, and I agree with you on most things, but there's one topic that I want to hear you talk more about. My question pertains to firearm policy in the United States versus Australia. Between 1995 and 1996, directly before and after the gun buyback in Australia, there was a 36% drop in deaths caused by gunshot wounds, and that's the sharpest decline in gun-related deaths between 1989 and 2014 in Australia. Between 2001 and 2002, before and after the trafficking and handgun agreements in Australia, the general homicide rate, not even specific to firearms, dropped by 17%, which was also the sharpest drop in homicides between 1989 and 2014 in Australia.
Oh, wow. Oh, my boy said, I'm bringing the receipts. I'm bringing the stats. Know what I'm saying? He said, you can't argue with these numbers, sir. But I'm intrigued to hear what the question is. Okay, talk to me.
Comparing Australia to the United States, between 2001 and 2014, there was a 44% decline in the rate of homicides in Australia compared to only a 19% decline in America. Given these facts, do you believe that policies similar to those enacted in Australia, specifically the gun buyback and the national firearm agreement, as well as the trafficking and handgun agreements, do you think that similar policies in America would help reduce gun violence?
So I don't think that a gun confiscation policy or a gun buyback program like Australia's would be effective. First of all, important to note that it's unclear how much of the reduction in gun violence in Australia was actually due to the gun buyback. And the reason I say that...
Yeah, I need to hear the reasoning that you're about to say this. Because it's just... Is it coincidence that after the gun buyback, after these policies were put into place, Australia's gun deaths by gun just shot down like that? It was due to something. I'm listening. Open mind. I got to hear what he got to say about what he feels the reasoning is.
Clear how much of the reduction in gun violence in Australia was actually due to the gun buyback. And the reason I say that is because only 1/3 of the guns that were actually bought back, meaning that 2/3 of the guns remain in circulation in Australia and remain in the homes of the people there. So the gun buyback was not responsible for a 100% reduction of the number of guns in circulation. It was responsible for a 33% reduction in the number of guns in circulation. Second of all, I'd actually want to see the statistics, because you're speaking verbally. I'd like to see the statistics that you're talking about, because the statistics that I have seen is that between 1994 and 2015, the decline in gun homicide rate in the United States was actually about the same as it was in Australia, without us actually engaging in the same policy. And in fact, there's a good article at the Washington Post.
I'd love to see the statistics as well. But even take 1/3 of the guns out the streets, and you see what the statistics shot down in Australia. So, know what I'm saying? I would say try it. What's the harm in trying it? But I'd love to see the statistics. I'd love to see the statistics as well. If what Ben Shapiro says is true, if there's similar drops in gun related homicides without having to do that, I would want to see that.
Name escapes policy. And in fact, there's a good article at the Washington Post. The woman's name escapes me. It's a woman who used to work for 538. I think her name was Leah Labrescu. And she writes an entire piece specifically about the UK and Australia and contrasting their gun policy with the United States and explaining why this is not particularly apt as a comparison. And it isn't.
I can understand that. I will say I have an open mind to understand that we are a completely different country. You know what I'm saying? We are very different in how things go in the country. And so what works for them may not work for us. But I'm just tired of the more guns every time, like, we hear about mass shootings, or every time something goes down. I'm tired of we need more guns in the hands of good guys. We need more, like No, we definitely do not need. We have more guns than people. What are we saying that we need? We're saying that we need more guns. No, that's not the solution because I mean I don't think anything's really changed. But again, I haven't looked at the statistics. I guess if you look at the news, you see all the bad stuff, and so social media, you see all these bad things. So it looks like nothing's changed. I haven't looked at the statistics to see if there has been a drop. So there could have been, and I'm ignorant to it. I don't know the information there. But from my perspective, from what I see on the media, it looks like nothing's really changed. And I don't like hearing people say we need more good guys with guns because like these people who got a gun, they probably were good guys, but they just had a bad day. They just snapped. Something happened. You feel me? And so you can snap and something happens and you just have a terrible day or a lot just been going on in your life. You become depressed and you change and now you have a gun at hand. So I don't like that saying, but I haven't looked at statistics. Maybe statistics have gone down and I'm just being ignorant.
And explaining why this is not particularly apt as a comparison. And it isn't. I mean, the fact is that America's homicide rate, our gun violence rate, has gone down massively since 1994, despite the increase of the number of weapons in circulation tremendously during that same period.
Okay.
We've actually increased between 1994 and now from, I think it was 250 million guns in circulation, about 400 million guns in the United States in circulation right now. But at the same time, the gun violence rate has declined markedly. Also, when I see these statistics, very often what people tend to do is lump in suicide with homicide. So this is why I'm questioning the stats, just because I have different stats. But if you want to send them to me, I'm happy to have an email exchange about them because I'm curious. I mean, I like more information. But what people tend to do when it comes to this sort of stuff is attribute sharp drops in homicide, which they include sometimes suicide in homicide, to the lack of guns. Well, if you want to shoot yourself, then this actually brings up a general question. Is it my job to remove a gun from you if you want to shoot yourself? I mean, you want to shoot yourself. You can stab yourself. You can hang yourself. And Japan has fairly high suicide rates in certain places. They have virtually no guns in that society. So suicide is something we don't quite understand well on a social science level.
He did answer that. It seemed like it was a very knowledgeable answer. So I'm still of the opinion that guns won't be banned here, so I wouldn't even go for that because I don't think there's any way in America that it would pass. Stricter gun policies, I think, should be. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's not your job to keep the gun out of the hand of someone who's going to kill themselves, but you know what I'm saying? What about someone who's suicidal that wants to take out other people along with themselves? Know what I'm saying? And so, I don't know. I feel like you should definitely have like mental tests, mental things, 28-day wait. You should have to prove that you know how to use the gun, that you know how to shoot a gun, that you got somewhere to keep it safe at. That I feel like there's just a lot of things that you should have to do before owning a gun because, I mean, you have a weapon with the ability to take lives. So there should be a lot of things, stricter policies you should have to go through. That's how I feel about the situation. Again, I don't know the statistics. It sounds like Ben Shapiro was very knowledgeable about the statistics. And if we're having almost the same percentage of homicides by gun without having to take the guns, if we're having the same decrease, then it's already happening. But yeah. Y'all let me know in the comment section what you think about this. I'd be intrigued to see the information. I don't know. It's just from what I see on media and stuff. I see all these school shootings and mass shootings and all of these things here in America. And so it doesn't look like there's been a decline. But I don't know what it was like back when in 1994, how bad it was. And so that's all we got. If you guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon and drop it in the comment section. It's your boy Neal, out.